N4HNH here going live. I'm monitoring the Hurricane WatchNet. Let me switch over to the radio here in a second. Using the FTdx5000MP right now. Monitoring both Hurricane WatchNet frequencies simultaneously. That's VFOB listening to 7.268. They're providing some regional coverage here. And then over here on the VFOA, I'm monitoring the longer range, the 20-meter coverage. Yeah, so, people go, how can, if you have two receivers simultaneously, hey, Fred in Paris, if you have two receivers operating simultaneously, how can you really make out what people are saying? I don't know. I can do it. I'm hearing the, this is the volume for VFOA, volume for VFOB. So there's the VFOB over there. I've also got, it's an interesting weather show that this guy does out of Kentucky. I've got that up over here on YouTube on the monitor. It's called Ryan Hall Y'all. And Ryan has live cameras and storm chasers that will that are usually positioned strategically. Now, what he's showing right now, as a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting. Let me zoom in. Where he's drawn that circle there. So you see how the hurricane is swirling there? The eye of it is still a couple of hours or more from actually making landfall near Sarasota, Florida. Or, well, it's going to hit the Tampa, Sarasota area. But already, if you look what he's showing over here, it's already spun up, a lot of tornadoes over there. It could even set a record. And he's had some footage of some of them earlier. I'll turn down the receivers just a little bit. They're telling people in certain areas of Florida now to shelter in place. Don't even try to get out and, get in a vehicle and try to get out of town now. Just at this point, it's too late. We have family down there ourselves that we're concerned about. They were not able to get gasoline to get out of town. But that's Ryan Hall Y'all on YouTube, and he usually goes live with situations like this. And again, he has a pretty large team, over 20 people, I understand. He's also a ham operator. He's a technician class licensee. Okay, I'm going to scan back over here to the radio and check you guys messages here. Thanks for the live feed. Well, yeah, you're welcome. I just thought, it's interesting that we have something historical going on here as far as this Hurricane Milton. Now, fortunately, it did hit Category 5, but fortunately it has dropped a little bit in its intensity. They expect that it'll hit Tampa area as a Category 3, somewhere around maybe 120 mile per hour plus or minus winds. So, let me look up here, see. KT Money, hey, what's up? Well, a hurricane again here just 2 weeks later after we had Helene go through. Now, Helene would have hit me, but it took a right turn at 2 a.m. When it was coming through about 2 weeks ago, and went more toward the east of Georgia and then went up North Carolina. And of course, unless you live under a rock and haven't watched any news, North Carolina is just devastated. It's just unbelievable destruction there. They showed that the storm has slowed down. Pressure went down again. Yep, I see that. And I'm registering right now 1,009 millibars, but I'm in Metro Atlanta. Although that is low, the normal is 1,013. And of course, the Hurricane WatchNet guys are gathering all that sort of data from various stations. They've been in contact with some people who are in the affected area, and they've established some contact with them, and those people they're on emergency power, but some people are supposed to check back with them at intervals and give them updates as long as they can. Let's see here. Is Tampa just gone? Well, no, but they're expecting some pretty serious devastation there. If only there were some way they could blame President Trump for all of this. Well, yeah, I guess I get where you're going there. And let's see. Oh, SQ3XBE. Hello there. Yeah, there's been. I see that Nature's Child. I've seen a couple of reports today that said, that it's very unlikely that if you're in the path of this storm, you'll survive it. I sure hope that is not true because we have family there. 10 feet of water they're expecting. Yeah, well, it's that's true. They're just digging out from the last storm. I have to say, though, kudos to their governor, DeSantis. I saw a report today. He has extra gas stockpiled. He's got the National Guard. He's got all hands on deck. They've even had teams going out and removing debris that would likely become projectiles. I mean, it's unbelievable what he has deployed down there to take care of everything. And I mean, they just don't sit around. They plan. So that is cool. The water table in Florida, how shallow is it? I'm not sure, but they're not far above sea level. I mean, they're really not. It's, I wouldn't want to live there. Let me scan back over to Ryan's screen a minute here and let you see that image he's got. Ryan Hall, y'all, he's got quite a team. So there you go. You see down at the now about middle of the screen, you'll see the ice in the middle there. You see it swirling, and over there on the right, Port St. Lucie, Palm Bay, all this here, that's where they've had some tornadic activity. I didn't verify this, but I heard that they've had over 70 tornadoes today. But Ryan did say earlier they may be looking at some record there for tornado activity in Florida. Now, you guys probably already know that the eastern side of a tornado, of a hurricane, is the worst. And look at all that red there. That's where you get the bulk of your damage. And that is now beginning to go ashore. At Sarasota, St. Pete, it kind of took a little bit of a turn south. It was looking like it was just going to go right straight across St. Pete, but it turned a little bit south, so it looks more like it's aimed at Sarasota. So let me get back over to the radio, since this is a radio channel, and we'll talk about my method here of monitoring. I've shown this before with the FTdx10. It doesn't have simultaneous dual receive, but if your radio doesn't have simultaneous dual receive, and it's not just FTdx10, there's a lot of radios out there, but they have an A and B VFO. And you can set your A VFO to 14.325, and you could set your B VFO, like I've done here, to 7.268. And the only difference is you don't listen to both simultaneously. You tap your A/B button on your radio. I'll simulate that here by doing this. I'm turning off A and turning on B. The A one's just blinking over there. And I'm even set right now to transmit on the 40 meter one. I'll switch back over. I could transmit on 14.325, or I could switch over here and transmit on the 40, depending on if I'm going to get in there and say anything, maybe like, relay a message or what have you. But even if you don't have the simultaneous dual receive, you just set the two VFOs to the two different frequencies, and you hit your A/B key and toggle back and forth. Let's see, more messages came through there. Been watching Max Velocity on the live stream. Yeah, tornadoes stay away. These things, tornadoes, reach way up in excess of 200-mile-per-hour winds. But of course, this hurricane, had it not slowed down, I mean, there was a concern that it could get up to around 200 miles per hour winds. But even still, 150, 160 is not good. But fortunately, it has come down to about 120 miles per hour. Last report I saw. So, but yeah, if you've got it doesn't matter what radio you have. I just own a Yaesu. Okay, I don't work for Yaesu. They don't pay me anything. They don't say which SM5000 or FTdx10. Oh, I've got videos all about that, KT Bunny, where I even put them up against each other. That's the but you mean the FTdx5000. The SM5000 is that speaker scope you see sitting up there. In fact, when I go to do a receive, I'll go ahead and turn this back on. So the left speaker is VFO-A, and the right speaker is VFO-B. So now I'm hearing, that's one of the ways that you can kind of separate out the sound. You're not hearing it out of the same speaker in this case. And if you're wearing headphones, it would do the same thing. VFO-A would be in the left ear, VFO-B would be in the right ear. And that's why I can actually listen to both and sort of pick up on what they're saying. I can't right now because I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, as far as which radio performs the better, they're neck and neck. I mean, this is the 5000's older technology, but I like all the knobs and buttons, easier to work. It holds its own with any of the new radios. There's certain features that it has that the new ones do not have. I mean, it's probably, I think it's somewhere around 7 or 8 features this has that did not get carried over into the newer radios. But I've got videos where I put the 5000 and the 10 up against one another, and they're just neck to neck. Oh, Luciano, yeah, you're in Texas. That's right. I remember you said you were going to be in Texas. But yeah, go and look up in fact, if you look in the look for FTdx10 videos in that playlist, or look in the FTdx5000MP playlist here on YouTube, and you'll see the videos where I've compared the two. I compared 7300 to FTdx10 and 5000. I even compared Yaesu's 891, the FT891, Yaesu's FT991A. I did a bunch of comparison. I got in trouble for that. Yaesu does not like comparison videos. They don't even like me to compare a Yaesu to a Yaesu. But hey, you know what? I don't work for them. They don't pay me. They can't tell me what to do. So I like to keep my channel. Thanks to the Patreon team members who support my channel privately, I'm not beholden to any manufacturer. So whatever I tell you, it's the truth as best I know it. And hopefully most of the time I try to make it be an informed decision, as in I've proven it myself. So the same thing like the ZS6BKW antenna, okay? Don't work for the people, don't get any compensation. I just happen to think it's the best antenna out there for the money, especially if you're new. But one of the guys who is actually right now operating on the Hurricane WatchNet is running one of those antennas, and I just got a message that another one is about to come on. I know him because he's my brother. He's about to be on the Hurricane WatchNet. He's also running a ZS6BKW. But I don't tell you guys about that antenna because I'm getting any compensation. I don't accept compensation. I tell you that because I want you to know that there's $160 US antenna out there that can operate 4 bands without requiring an antenna tuner, and can operate 10 through 80 if you do give it an antenna tuner. So I just tell you that because I want you to get the best for your money. I don't want you to spend money twice. That's been one of the charters of my channel all along since 2020, when I really got going in earnest. I don't want you to buy twice. Buy the best first, even if you have to save up a little bit longer, so you don't end up later going, okay, it's 6 months old and I've already outgrown this radio because I've already done everything that I can do with it. And now I'm going to have to pay again and upgrade to something better. Okay. And I won't kid you, there are radios out there easier to operate than these Yaesus. And again, I don't work for Yaesu, just telling you the scoop. Yaesus are more difficult to learn. I had a guy tell me one time, he says, well, and he was coming over from another brand, but he goes, the other radio is easier to learn. The Yaesu does a lot more, but there's a learning curve. He said, a Yaesu is a thinking man's radio. And I think that was an accurate way to put it. Nobody makes a perfect radio. You guys who watch my channel regularly know that. But I would rather spend money once and buy the radio that is more capable, but is going to have a learning curve in it. And that's why I shot some of the video series I did. The FTdx10 series is up to 100 videos now. The first 37 or 39, something like that, are available on YouTube. But over on Patreon, for the people who are helping pay for these videos, they have an actual list. They can watch those videos in order from 1 to 100. I did the same thing for the FT710, and I did the same thing for the FTdx101. So over on Patreon, those are separated out, and you have collections, as they call them, and you can watch those in order. But even on the public YouTube site, which those Patreon members pay for, there are a number of videos over there for free. They're just not in any one particular order. You'll see, though, on the FTdx10 videos, some of them are numbered, a hashtag number. That means that is a video that is in the series, but you won't see them all over there on YouTube. But again, yeah, as part of those series, I did do some comparisons, and I got in trouble with Yaesu over that. It's funny to me, they don't want me to compare Yaesu to Yaesu. I thought they maybe didn't want me to compare Yaesu to another brand, but the truth is, and when I was doing those comparisons to other brands, the Yaesu radios win, even though they're not perfect. You know, nobody makes a perfect radio. They just seem to get it really close. All right, I'm going to stop talking for a second. Let's listen in. That's 14.325. Hey, Matt.
Roger, Roger.
Nature's Child. Okay, yeah. Hey, I'm glad you like those. The FTdx10 videos. Oh, KT Bunny, you asking what antenna? ZS6 BKW, ZS6 Bravo Kilo Whiskey, and you can make your own if you look up look at this. Somebody tuning. I'm going to turn on the digital notch filter. Earlier today, somebody was interfering with the net by transmitting FT8 over the net control. You got people down there, you know, wanting to hear vital information, and they're doing that. But yeah, you could build your own ZS6 BKW. The plans are online. And I was going to do that. I love building antennas. Been doing it since before 1982, but I got my license in 1982. Before that, I did Citizens Band, and I love building antennas. But when I looked at the material list, the one from N4L, I think it is. Let me double check that. Let's see. I think it's N4L.com. Let me look it up. N4L.
Net control, this is KC3 UII. I can do my best to relay.
N4L is the guy that sells one for around $160, I think. Yeah, N4L.com. And it's already made, ready to go, pull it out of the box, deploy it. By the way, if you were to buy one of those, I get this question a whole lot. If you got one of those antennas, it's going to have some ladder line on it. It's 39 feet long, a little over 39 feet. It does need to be stretched vertically up. I mean, there is some forgiveness. I know a couple of guys who weren't able to get theirs 40 feet up so that ladder line didn't touch the ground. Theirs is still working remarkably. You know, but that antenna, the ladder line, when you take it out of the box, will be spiraled and you don't want to flatten that out. You want to leave that. It helps the ladder line resist the wind from grabbing it and shoving it back and forth. It'll just swirl around the ladder line. So if you are using ladder line, let's say you're building your own antenna, you want to create that swirl to be able to let the wind, swirl around it like that. But yeah, I mean, when I first put mine up, I wasn't able to get it up 40 feet. I was able to get it up 32 feet. So what I did was, as the ladder line approached the ground, I just kind of angled it up and I went over toward my deck and just kind of pulled it over there. And then that's where I screwed the coax in so I could keep the ladder line off the ground. And it worked fine. Now, over the years, some limbs got out of the way, broke off, and I've been able to get it up higher. There's a video about that where I'm using one of those easy hang slingshots to get to the next higher limb. If you look in my, probably in my HF antennas playlist, there's like 60 playlists on my channel, over 700 videos. But I may even have a playlist dedicated to the ZS6BKW. I can't remember. But yeah, there's a video where I actually use that slingshot, that easy hang slingshot. It's really, really nice to get it over the next limb up. Now, how did I do it before? Well, I made my own with a slingshot and a fishing reel. I kind of made my own way to do that, but the easy hang one is a little better way to do it. And then I've got a friend who could only get his up 17 feet. And I said, what'd you do with the ladder line? And he said, oh, it's just laying on the ground, and he sounds great. I said, well, I can't believe you did that. And then I've got another friend who got his up 28 feet, and what he did was he's got it hanging from the pointy part of his back deck, which is over a patio. So you got a concrete patio, 8 feet up, you got a deck. And then above the deck is a roof, and he's suspending it from that roof. And my Patreon details, it's Patreon, patreon.com/ my call sign N4HNH. So patreon.com/ and that'll take you to my Patreon sign up page. There's 3 different levels, and each level has different perks. So my friend put his up 28 feet, and then what he did was when he brought the ladder line down, and he obviously had extra ladder line. What he did was he tucked it up under the deck, using the rafters. Now, you don't want to let it touch metal. Ladder line should not touch metal, so he had to use some plastic clips and just kind of support the ladder line across under the deck like that until he got to the point where you screw the coax into it. It's got a little fitting where you screw your coax. One other thing about the ZS6, you should put at least 70 feet of coax with it. The coax actually serves as part of the matching network. Let's see, let me see what these other comments are. Thank you for all the information on the FTdx. Yeah, well, you're welcome there, KA6PSD. I did say when I read the specs on the FTdx10, I thought, man, this radio could be a game changer. And it is. I just can't believe the amount of radio you get for that price. Even the original price, mine cost $1,700, but it was still unbelievable to get a radio that could do all that for $1,700 when you consider that a really good radio in 1959 was $1,200. In today's money, that's well over $12,000. So, you consider what the average salary is in America today. That's roughly a fourth of a year's pay. And back in 1959, somebody would pay about a fourth of a year's pay to get a good radio. So the fact that we can even get one for $1,700 these days is unbelievable. Hello, Mr. Squirrel. So let's see, still using FT900 and FT757GX, RRT08 says. Yeah, great radio. I've got the FT890 AT. I've shown it in 2 videos on my channel. And one of them's called Hello, Old Friend. But that FT900 is just the next iteration of the 890, and they went from the LED screen to LCD, and you had a removable faceplate. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, FT900, I've got a friend. He's one of the Patreon team members who support this channel, KB9JQU. He has an FT900, and it's in his emergency shack, I believe is what you would call it. So yeah, good radios. Yeah, or some of the retirement savings. That's right. Well, the radio you're looking at there, I actually saved up for 20 years. How you get a little money here on the side, there on the side, because I figured at some point I was going to want to buy my retirement rig. And I was not planning on buying Yaesu, not in the least. In fact, I'll just level with you. I wrote about it on my Patreon site, why I chose this radio, because I walked in to buy a Kenwood TS990S. No intention of buying this Yaesu. But yeah, I ended up going back and forth to the store, trying out all the radios on the same antenna, listening to different things, CW, sideband, what have you, and just kept going back to the 5000 as having the best receiver as far as signal to noise ratio. And then I waited on the FTdx5000 to come out, and I put it up against the 5000. They were neck to neck. But at that particular time, the digital noise reduction, and I'll just tell you right now, I'm using digital noise reduction. I'll let you hear it right quick. I just turned it off. All right, here it comes. That was the best digital noise reduction I had ever witnessed. And the FTdx101 could not compare. Now, here's why. I have an FT891 mobile in my truck, the little, and it is a phenomenal radio. Don't get me wrong. And it's digital noise reduction if you know the little tricks that I teach on my channel. I'll tell you real quick. Number one, eliminate your noise from the front end of the receiver first. So use things like intercept point optimization, IPO, and attenuation. Then your digital signal processor doesn't have so much work to do, and it'll do a better job for you. And you'll always run an FT891 on algorithm 9 or higher. Forget that algorithms 1 through 8 exist. They'll make it sound like you're listening underwater. And so they are responsible for bad reputations about digital noise reduction. Well, so this radio here, it doesn't matter. It's, the algorithms are 1 through 15. Algorithm 1 is the least aggressive, as I like to say. Algorithm 15 is the most aggressive. I've never had to go to algorithm 15, but I do use it on CW. Watch some of my CW videos, and you'll see that I do use digital noise reduction with CW. But when I'm listening to sideband, like right now, I'll scan over there and let you see, I'm running digital noise reduction at 5. And I would normally, I might even run it at 3 or 4, or even 1. Especially on AM, I tend to use 1. But I'm using 5 right now because we got a lot of these crashes in the air from these storms. And so I bumped it up a little bit. So anyway, back to the digital noise reduction in the 101. When I played with the 101, again, it was fresh, out of the factory. The digital noise reduction in the FTdx101 was no different than in the FT891. And by the way, if you didn't know this, they use the same exact DSP chip from Texas Instruments. This radio is using a Texas Instruments chip too. It's actually a different model, but it's very good. I have no complaints. The FTdx5000D uses the same chip as the 5000. In fact, even the FTdx1200 had the same chip. Again, from Texas Instruments. But as far as chip model numbers go, the FT891, 991, 991A, FT, I think even the 450, but I know the FTdx10 and the FTdx101 all use the same DSP chip. So why would the 101 not be better than the FT891? I think that they just had not gotten around to any advanced programming with that Texas Instruments chip at Yaesu. But here's the interesting part. It stayed that way. That radio came out in 2019, the FTdx101. And last year, in one of the firmware updates, it finally got digital noise reduction that was as good as the FTdx10. Now, wait a minute, 10? Yeah, my FTdx10 is one of the early models. It came out of the gate with incredible DNR. It was the second radio I liked the DNR on. And it's neck to neck with the FTdx5000's digital noise reduction. And so I knew Yaesu could do it. And by the way, same exact chip, same DSP in the 10 that is in the 101. I don't know why, because the 10 came out late 2020. like December, I believe. Mine is an April 2021 model, and I'm still running the original firmware. A lot of you guys who are regulars on my channel know that I'm still on version 01-04. I don't upgrade unless I have a problem. But also, too, there's a feature in mine that I won't give up, and they took it away in the subsequent versions. I can double tap my band key to cycle through the band stack registers. For those of you who use radios that don't have that, a band stack register, like right here on this 5000, that's my button for 14 megahertz. I tap it, I'm on a band stack register that I've set up for CW. So all the filters are set for CW. I can move the frequency around if I want to. It'll remember that when I come back. Here's a band stack register set for sideband, and here's another band stack register set for sideband, and there's 3. And all I got to do is just tap the 14 each time to cycle. On the FTdx10 that I have, I double tap band to do that. Now you can also tap band and then function key, band and function key. On the newer versions, that's the only thing you can do is, well, you can tap band and function key, or you can tap band, and when it pops up the band screen where you choose to change bands, you just tap, if you're on the 14 megahertz band, you tap band and then you tap 14 again. I think that's cumbersome. I'd rather tap band and the function key, but mine, I just double tap band. I don't want to give that up, and I don't have any problems with that rig. But that rig comes out in 2021 or 2020, and I got this one in 2021, early 2021, and the digital noise reduction just floored me. I said, wait a minute, this digital noise reduction is as good as my FTdx5000. And what I didn't understand was, how can it have better noise reduction, digital noise reduction, than the 101, its big brother, which had been out in 2019. And it wasn't until 2023 that the FTdx101 got an update that put it on an even footing with the FTdx10 as far as digital noise reduction. Some people hate digital noise reduction. I don't operate without it. So yeah, there. So before I close out, just a reminder. So I'm listening with VFO-A to 14325. That's a long-range net. They'll have people up in Canada working as net control. By the way, they need help. The Hurricane Watch Net. Go to hwn.org, I believe it is, and consider signing up. They need some more folks. The Innovato was a game changer too. Yeah, I would agree with that. I do. Mine's running over here right now. The ham clock he's referring to there. But let's see, on my FTdx10, I touch band and then just slightly move the outer dial to change my band stack. Oh, well, that's cool. What you're doing there is when you hit band, it pops up that band display, and by doing that, you're kind of it's like that on the FT891 too. You've got just a few seconds once you tap the button on the FT891 to change bands. To rotate the VFO is what you use to do it on that radio. But anyway, so I'm listening to one on one VFO and the 40 meter net on the other VFO. They'll have people from long distances off, like Canada, Missouri, Texas, on 20 meters, because, if they were here in the Southeast, they're too close. So, you guys know this from studying for your licenses and maybe just experience. We know we got to learn which bands work certain times of the day, and that ham clock helps you out with that, doesn't it? But so the 7.268 that they're using there, those are some regional operators who have regional coverage during the day, and now at night that band does what we call goes long, becomes a DX band, but they'll still operate on 7.268 at night. They may have to have some net control operators a little further away so they can still hear people, like in this case in Florida, who are in the affected area. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining me for this. I just wanted to spotlight that, this Hurricane Milton is coming in, and so the Hurricane WatchNet is really, really busy because they actually report the information that people radio into them directly to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. In fact, just before I went live, I heard the operator from the National Hurricane Center in there with them, but they actually have a internet chat. So they do that behind the scenes. They're able to communicate directly. Now, the Hurricane Watch Center, I think they said they don't really want any reports unless the wind is reaching above 35 miles per hour. That's the kind of reports they want. Of course, so the Hurricane Watch Net will accept everything because they can kind of build a map of here's where we got wind. This wind's a little more here, a little more here. They can analyze it. But as far as what the National Hurricane Center is looking for, they'll usually tell the Hurricane Watch Net what their reportable criteria threshold is, and then the Hurricane Watch Net guys will know. Somebody says, well, we got 15-mile-an-hour winds with 18-mile-an-hour gusts. They're not going to radio. I mean, they'll log that, but they're not going to immediately tell the National Hurricane Center that one, because you can imagine how busy they are doing their thing. But they do value the input from the ham radio operators, and the average person in your neighborhood has no idea this is going on. All right, well, with that, I'm going to leave it with you. Yeah, DJ, the DX10, like I said, I thought the radio was going to be a game changer. I do believe it is, because I don't think you can get a better radio for under $2,000. I really don't. And people go, oh, I don't know, maybe the 710 or the DX10. I get questions all the time. If you can do it, get the DX10, because there's subtle things that are missing in the 710 that the DX10 has. And the 710 uses a different DSP chip, and I'm not as impressed with that DSP chip as I am the FTdx10. Yaesu's going to be mad if they hear that I said that. But I just give you the straight scoop on this channel. Is an FT710 a bad radio? Absolutely not. Compare it to most other radios out there, you're going to want a 710. But is there something better than the 710? Well, yes. And so whatever few $100 extra there is, if you can do it, I would do it. But, I mean, that's just me. All right, hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you jumping in there. And hey, if you're in that area that is going to be affected by Hurricane Milton, my wife and I, we've been praying for people down there. Like I said, we got family down there. Hunker down, get yourself a safe place. Worst case scenario, grab a mattress, jump in a tub, and stay in it with that mattress pulled down over you. That'd be the last resort, but do it if you have to. All right, hey, y'all, thanks a lot for joining in with me, and I appreciate you guys who are Patreon team members, because without you, none of these videos would exist. I can't afford to do this without some help, especially if I want to avoid having any type of sponsorships who would try to bridle me, if you will, or censor me. All right, hey, 73, y'all. Take care.